in 5, 4, 3, 2.
You don't say 2 or 1.
Yeah, but last time when I listened to that episode like 5 times and fucking, what do you call it? Every time I would hear it, I was like waiting for 2 and 1. I'm like, where's 2 and 1? I don't see myself doing the 2 and 1.
Oh, you don't say 2 or 1.
I know you
Why
don't
not?
say 2.
You just don't.
You just don't. Well, I don't
You just
like that.
don't.
I now agree with the guy from Wayne's World. All right, so we're live. Welcome, everybody. 3NM Podcast number 16. Yes, last one was not 14. It was 15, and this is number 16. My name is Nick Tesla. His name is...
Brian McFadden.
Hey, there you go. He's all looking away. He's like he's ashamed to call himself Brian McFadden or something. Look, he's looking down.
I'm making sure I got everything good to go.
Brian McFadden. All right, cool. Good stuff. I'd like to say happy Martin Luther King Day. Martin Luther King Jr.
I don't know if you
Day.
say Happy Martin Luther King Day. I don't know if that's...
Well, you know what? I want to say Happy Martin Luther King Day because you know what? It's a happy day remembering the great things that he did for the civil rights movement.
I'm glad you elaborated on that.
He did a lot of things for the civil rights movement, but also for civil rights in general in the United States. A lot of people think that, like, when a lot of people think about him, they think of him and what he did for African American people in the United States, and he did a lot for African American people.
People don't notice how it affected everyone in general.
Well,
the things he was saying and doing.
Well, a lot of people could hear you say that and say, "Yeah, I know, because the white people, everything was segregated before, and then the white people had to start sharing stuff with the black people, and they thought that the black people was less than them." That's opening the door for people to say that because, well, everything changed for us white people. It's like, no, he actually fought for white people too. He fought for, like, the black people were his race or were his people, but
for
exactly, that's the exact point I'm trying to make. Thank you very much, Brian. Is he fought for everybody, and he fought for what was right and what was just, and common sense. He fought for common sense, like in a time where a lot of people knew what common sense was, but there weren't a lot of people other than protesters. Like, because we had a lot of protesters back in the day, but as far as people putting themselves out there and on the line, there weren't a lot of people that were really willing to do that. You know, a lot of people were, I think there was a lot of fear. We talk about a lot of fear in our culture today. I believe there was probably a lot of fear back then. Protesting was, I think, a little bit easier because I think it was more of a party atmosphere back in the day. I don't want to say party atmosphere as far as they didn't know why they were there. They knew why they were there. Okay, go ahead.
Now, I couldn't find this one. I did a quick search before the show. I couldn't find it, but I'm just going to pull it from memory. It's something along the lines of modern man suffers from a sort of poverty of the soul. Something direct contrast to his technological and etc. You know, basically saying that we're so smart, but at the same time we're so ignorant.
You know what, Brian? And
it goes. I know he ends it with, "We've learned to swim the seas like fish. We've learned to fly the air."
All right,
like
cool.
birds,
So we have video for the moment. We have video for the moment, so everybody can see that you now have a laptop in front of you that you can pull this in. Oh, okay. You can't find it online. I thought you meant you were looking for it earlier. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I kind of agree with that, though. I definitely agree with that. As we get more technologically advanced, we become
But still,
more
we
ignorant
haven't
and
learned to
more.
walk the earth as brother and sister.
No, of course we're coming farther and farther apart from that, and farther from that. We're moving away from that instead of moving towards that. There's a lot of people, especially in the New Age community, who believe that we're moving towards a unison, and I believe that is the ultimate goal. That is the long term goal, is to move towards a unison of the human race. If we're going to ever explore the stars, we're not going to do it as countries, as invisible lines drawn on our land to divide up the land between peoples and stuff like that. That civilization, this society that we have now, is not going to work. If we're ever going to explore the stars, we need to come together. But I think we believe that technology is giving us the ability to connect with each other, and it's giving a lot of people the ability to connect with each other, and a lot of people who were never able to connect with each other, the ability to connect with each other. But it's also giving us the ability to disconnect with each other. And I think if you really were to look at the numbers, there's a lot more of society disconnecting with each other than are connecting with each other when it comes to using technology for the benefit of us.
A good point was made on a radio show I was listening to earlier today. They mentioned that, 30 years ago, it was very common for people to just remember phone numbers off the top of your head. But now people under 30 have grown up with smartphones.
Yeah.
They just put the number straight into the phone. You ask them their home phone number, half the time they don't know it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am often surprised how I still remember some phone numbers from back in the day. And they'll roll through my head maybe like once a week. I'll have this phone number just roll through my head. I remember my
phone number from when I was a kid in Cinnaminson.
The only phone numbers I really like, I remember all the numbers from back in the day. Not all the numbers, anybody who still has the same number, I remember your number off the top of my head, like no problem. Like, what do you call it? My buddy 4031. Like, that's the last four. I'm not going to put any more of his phone number out there. But 4031, like, I'll remember that. As long as he has that number, I'll remember that till the end of time. That's ingrained in my skull. Yeah, but the only other numbers, like recent numbers that are ingrained in my skull, are my family, my girlfriend, hold on, my family. Yeah, I know my family's by heart. Only my direct family, only my dad, my mom, and my sister. But my girlfriend and my fucking weed dealer. Come on, who doesn't know their fucking weed dealer's number off the top of their head? Well, a lot of people don't because they're smartphones, and I'm not Mr. Smartphone, so I don't know. Like I have a smartphone, but it's not connected to any kind of plan or anything. I use it for Wi-Fi. All right, the mark of a great society, I believe it is, a great civilization. Let's say society. Yeah, there it is. All right, this is a quote. I don't know if it was by Martin Luther King. Let's see who it was by. I'm gonna read you this quote. It reminds me of Martin Luther King. It was actually a quote by Gandhi, but since we're in the mood of talking about great people that did great things, and what I'd like to know is more of the history about Martin Luther King. I don't know. That would be interesting. Maybe we could get somebody on. Maybe next year if we're doing the show that for Martin Luther King Day, it would be an awesome thing to get somebody on who's an expert in the life of Martin Luther King Jr. Not just what Martin Luther King Jr. did and the things he did for the civil rights movement, but also the life. Because Gandhi's life, when you learn about Gandhi's life and that he was a lawyer and abandoned that, you know what I'm saying? But then you also learn other like eccentric kind of quirks about Gandhi, that he wasn't as great of a guy. People think he was a saint, so he never did anything wrong. And we saints are few and far between in this day and age, like few and far between every couple thousand years or a few hundred years or something. Like Nikola Tesla was a saint, you know what I'm saying? But our saints don't maybe look like saints anymore. Nikola Tesla was in love with a pigeon, like literally in love with a pigeon. Like that was his spouse. He didn't make love to it, but maybe it's like the lady in UK. Did you see the thing on the internet about it was on the internet? It's true. This lady in the UK who's basically, she was with a dude for 17 years. They never got married or anything, and the dude left her, and she went out and got 2 cats, and then proceeded to marry the cats. And has a fake marriage certificate, so it's not legal, but a fake marriage certificate, and tells people that she's married to her 2 cats. Oh. And of course, you read the article, and at the bottom of the article, of course, the question comes up where there's stupid-ass people out there that are asking her, well, is there any sexual relationship between you and the cats?
Wow.
And it's like, you have got to be kidding me. You really have got to be kidding me that's how stupid our society is. Seriously, we're able to see a story like that. Normally, 20 years ago, a story like that would have been either for Weekly World News or a local, since it was in the UK, a local UK newspaper or something, or a local UK news station doing coverage on it. And we wouldn't hear anything about it.
I've been saying it for years.
And you wouldn't hear these stupid-ass comments.
Every passing day, Idiocracy becomes less a comedy and more a documentary.
It would be a good documentary, and I think we should look into doing it. Anybody out there that would like to help us with this documentary, and I'm sure there's many people that are interested in the subject, is the rise of the internet troll. The rise of the internet troll is the troll has become something it's all on its own. You know what I'm saying? Like a completely separate entity from just people who comment or people who put their opinion out there. A troll is something completely different than just somebody putting their genuine opinion out there, which I'm sure we've had trolls since the beginning of the internet, but it's getting a little out of hand. You know what I'm saying?
It's like every website or
what it reminds me of?
What
it reminds me of? The stupid ass dude. I said stupid ass like 4 times already today. But the stupid ass dude that you hang out with, that every other thing you say, well, that's what she said. That's what she said. Yeah, that's what she said. That's where trolls are getting to. It's like, all right, really? If we're all just walking around, that's what she said. That's what she said.
You know what I think of?
Are we what kind of world are we living in?
That's my point right there. Idiocracy is becoming a documentary.
Yeah.
Welcome to Costco.
Yeah,
I love you.
Yeah, I
Welcome
guess that's what I was just talking about is Idiocracy. If nobody's seen Idiocracy and they found what I just said kind of funny or kind of ironic or kind of touching on the truth a little bit, or what we're talking about touching on the truth a little bit, and you haven't seen the movie Idiocracy,
it's created by Mike Judge.
Go check it out.
Beavis and Butthead.
But I've come to find out
really
that there's a lot of people out there that love that movie and have seen that movie, but still don't correlate that our society is turning into that. I almost think it's like cognitive dissonance or denial.
I think it is.
Or they're like, that's in the movie, it's to an extreme. The stupidity is to the extreme. You know what I'm saying? You're going to Starbucks for a blowjob. It's like our hand job.
500 years in the future. It's 500 years of fluoride and vaccines.
But everything is to the extreme, where it's almost like comical, where it's almost not believable.
It is comical.
It's very comical.
It is comical.
It's hilarious. It's
with
my
the
favorite
intelligence
movie for a
that we still have now, we can look at that and call it comedy.
Yeah, it's hilarious. All right. I guess we started with your Martin Luther King quote here. I love how we ride off the rails sometimes.
We're good at that.
Yeah, we really are.
But we always come back.
Yes, we do. Basically, I love the batteries are staying on the camera.
Nice.
This is just a
it's
wonderful
a great
thing.
change of pace.
We're only 12 minutes in. So.
Hey, that's an improvement from the last one.
Hey, it's
last time we got 3 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, I figured out what the problem with this camera is. We just needed to get a new memory card. Once I can afford to get one, we will get one. If anyone would like to donate a memory card that works in a digital camcorder, a SD card, one of the big SD cards that's made, SDHC I think it's called, that's made for a camcorder, digital camcorder, that would be great. If not, you'll just have to wait until we get a card for it, until I can afford it. Anyway, all right, now on to the same thing that you were just talking about, the MLK quote. This is a quote that I had found by Gandhi that I immediately started to think of. This is a quote by Gandhi. This isn't the one that I've always heard or I've always read about. Or I've always read. I've read a different version than this, and I'll let you know what my version is, but this is what I just found that says it's from Gandhi.
Okay.
All right, and it was the number 2 result on Google. The true measure of any society can be found in how it treats its most vulnerable members. Now, what I've heard
that
many times is the true measure of any great society is how well it treats the least of its citizens.
Yeah.
You know?
And when I think of that, I think of the conversations we've had about if extraterrestrials were looking at our planet and they weren't seeing different nations. They're looking at us as a whole, as a human
I think it might be time, if you want, I guess I can put a little bit of stuff together, definitely put what I have together on it. It might be time for a full-blown alien, I don't want to say UFO episode because we've touched on UFOs. I told my UFO story. I don't want to touch on UFOs. There's so much more to aliens, but I want to touch on alien communication and attempted alien communication with the human race, like aliens attempting to communicate with the human race attempting to communicate with aliens. I don't want to get into any ancient alien stuff. There's plenty of that on History Channel almost every night of the week, or H2 or whatever it is. People can watch that for all I care. But I want to get into...
Every now and then it's interesting.
It is. It's definitely interesting. I've watched a few episodes and I've learned some stuff from it.
Same.
But I'd like to get into kind of what we're talking about right here is how aliens would look at the human race. And as far as communication goes, how willing would they be to communicate with us?
With the way we treat each other right now?
Well, there's many different things, too.
Are launching sarin gas at these people here, and these people here are blaming it on these people.
Well, it's also think about what have we
it.
done to our food? What have we done to the animals?
These
you know
people
what I'm
here are
saying?
charging them for food that's poisonous.
Okay, there's food that's poisonous, but what about the animals? The animals that used to free roam and graze on our lands.
Oh, yeah.
All of a sudden, those animals are being one. It's basically slaves. They're basically slaves, even though we may not look at them like that. An alien race may very well look at the animals as slaves, and we've mass produced them only to chop them up and eat them. It's like, that is sick.
Yeah.
If you're an alien race and you pride all life,
never
and you
really
understand,
thought of it that way, but yeah.
but you understand the cosmic truth that all life has a soul and all life is God. Like, that's what I believe. All life is God. So if you're an alien race and you know that, let's just say they don't call it God, but they call it the almighty creator or the creator of all, right? And they come to our planet and they see that each slice of us, I think that's what it is. Aliens, there's certain aliens out there that are not a slice of God. They may have life, they may have sentience, or they may have some sort of conscience to them, but they're not actually a slice of God. They're a slice of maybe some other God that they've been able to come into our universe or our dimension or whatever it is. But I think that might be part of the fascination. There's a belief that alien races and stuff have a fascination with Earth or with humans, and that might be part of the fascination is that we're God. But what if every living entity that is born of this universe, born out of this universe, is literally brought to life in this universe? If you're on Earth, Earth is in this universe. So if you're born on Earth, you were born in this universe. For all we know, those aliens weren't born in this universe, hence why they wouldn't be God, right? But
True.
if any life that is born or created out of this universe, right, any conscious life or sentient life that is born out of this universe is a slice of God, and any alien race knows that, they're so advanced that they can see that, it's almost plain as day to them, and we're chopping we got little kids burning ant piles, you know what I'm saying? Burning ants with a magnifying glass.
Yeah.
We got dogs and
Tell me
we
you've
got
never
pets.
done it. Tell me you never did it.
Nah, I never did that. I don't think I ever had a magnifying glass. But I'm pretty sure I've stomped on plenty of ants in my time, and I'm not proud of it. I was always amazed how when you stomp on an ant, you can stomp on a group of ants and like 3 or 4 of them will die, but there's 100 of them there and the rest just keep moving. And it's like, how did that happen? You're like, I just stomped on them. Shouldn't they all be squished? And it's like, nah, because of the crevices of the sidewalk and stuff like that. Like, their bodies are so small. When I stomp on them, my shoe's not even, and there's crevices in my shoe and like stuff like that. It's like, didn't even realize that. But right, what if everything that lives on this planet, we'll just say for just this planet for right now, right? Everything that lives on this planet, every living thing, its soul is a slice of God or a slice of the creator of the universe, right? Of this universe, the most powerful thing in this universe that is this whole universe, you know what I'm saying? But the conscious part of this universe, and us being a conscious part of this universe is killing in so many different ways other conscious parts of this universe. Why would you want anything to do with that? Why? You know what I'm saying? Like, wouldn't it be almost obvious that since they're different from us, doesn't matter if they're conscious, if they don't communicate like we communicate, we may look at them as just animals. Even if they were to just show up or they were to be here, they don't know. We might just look at them as animals
and try to do the same to them.
Treat them as animals. Like, I wonder what they taste like. You know what? I wonder what he would be like. I wonder if I threw him in the smoker for 36 hours, how he would taste when he came out. You know what I'm saying? Throw a little hickory or some mesquite in there. I bet you he would taste real good. It's like, that is what's sick about our society, and we're eons away from, we're not eons, but I'd say we're literally probably 100 years away from changing what needs to be changed for an alien race to look at us and think that
I think we're 100 years away from enough
advanced
of society to even think about even starting to change.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
To have any effect.
I think it's going to come down to us being forced by either Agenda 21 or what is it?
Blue Beam?
No, not Blue Beam. You're kind of thinking on the same line though. What is it? It's Jacques Cortez. Jacques Cortez. You know what I'm talking about?
Jacques Cortez. I know the name.
The something project. Oh, I can pull him up. Jacques Cortez and Jacques Cousteau. I love how that comes up.
Jacques Cousteau, yeah.
Jacques Cortez.
Well,
Pretty sure that's his name. All right.
Happy Jacques Cousteau.
Jacques Cortez. Something project. Zeitgeist was attached to it. I'm pretty sure Zeitgeist.
I started to watch Zeitgeist finally, and then shut it off an hour in.
Jacques Fresco Venus Project. The Venus Project. Have you heard of the Venus Project?
Heard of, but know very little about it.
How about I give you a little...
Why don't you do that?
A little background on the
Fill me
Venus
in here.
Project. One good thing about Wikipedia is I'll give them credit, credit where credit is due. At the beginning of every Wikipedia page, for the most part, they have, and everybody knows this, I'm just saying, it's pretty awesome and it helps us out. At the beginning of every Wikipedia page, they have a paragraph or two just giving you a quick summary of what you're getting ready to read about. So here we go. The quick paragraph or two about the Venus Project. Venus Project Corporation was incorporated by Jacques Fresco, and I said Jacques Cortez. I was thinking Jacques Cousteau and Fresco put together.
I think he was thinking Jacques Cousteau.
Yeah, and Jacques Fresco put together. All right. Venus Project Corporation was incorporated by Jacques Fresco in 1995 to advocate a theoretical economic system, what it calls a resource-based economy. This idea has versions of sustainable development, energy efficiency, natural resource management, and advanced automation in a global construct.
Sounds exactly like Agenda 21.
Yeah, Agenda 21. This
sounds like the same thing.
This is a little more... I don't want to say user-friendly. I think they would probably go hand in hand, the Venus Project, if Agenda 21 was completely and fully implemented, let's just say 50 or 75 years from now, and it had to be implemented, people would call for something like the Venus Project, because there's already a model. I'm not saying people like the public, but whoever's setting those rules and saying that we have to switch over to this, they would call for something like the Venus Project because it's already a blueprint for how people can live together and have the new blueprint for cities, basically. That's the way I look at the Venus Project. As of 2011, Fresco lectured and gave tours of the Venus Project location. The 2011 documentary-style film Zeitgeist Addendum and Zeitgeist Moving Forward focus on ideas from the Venus Project. Oh, camera's done. Video's done. That sucks. Damn it, give me this cord. All right. 2011 documentary style Zeitgeist Addendum and Zeitgeist Moving Forward focus on ideas from the Venus Project through the two groups split from each other as far as supporting one another after the movies mentioned were made.
Why could we not throw more batteries in and restart the camera and pick up after?
I could do that.
Let's do that. Let's keep the video going.
All right. You want to keep the video going?
Let's keep the video going.
It doesn't even give you. It's bullshit. This is fucking bullshit. I'll tell you what. I'll put the new batteries in. But this is bullshit. The Venus Project. Did you hear what I just read?
Yeah.
It doesn't give you any actual detail as to what it's about. Because it's like... It sounds so good, though. It sounds so good. And then you start to really think about it. And you think about, well, who's going to be in control of all this? It's basically a Brave New World. The guys laid out a Brave New World outline, right? But it's like, okay, it sounds nice. Some of it sounds nice. It sounds like we can all live in harmony. It's like a cashless system, shit like that. That's pretty awesome. But who controls everything?
Yeah.
Who calls the shots?
Big Brother.
Who's making that who's deciding how much everybody eats and this and that?
Big Brother.
You can say it's a democracy all you want, but it's never going to be a democracy.
Well, they say this is a democracy, and while you're putting those batteries in, I'll explain why we're not.
All right,
What the United States... See, here's our thoughts on that. Democracy. We grow up being told the United States is a democracy. We are not a democracy. In truth, we are an oligarchical dictatorship being portrayed to the public as a democratic republic, which we're being told is a democracy. But a democracy is not the same thing as a democratic republic. In a true democracy, if you win the popular vote, you win the vote. It's sad to say it this way, but if 51% of people say, okay, we want to deport everyone of this nationality, then that's what happens. That's true democracy. We are not in that. That would actually be kind of messed up if that would happen, to be honest, but what we are is a democratic republic.
Yeah, what do you call it?
Oh yeah, we're an oligarchical dictatorship, but...
Well, that's all.
But we're not the true democracy. No matter they tell you that from grade school. We're a
Democracy
democracy.
is also not a good thing. Democracy is not what you're told as far as a group of people, the group of people deciding for a group of people that we elect deciding for us.
Oh yeah. It wouldn't be
It's
people
not
we
as
elect
simple.
deciding for
Democracy is
us.
Never as simple as that. That's actually closer to a democratic republic. Which we
Exactly.
definitely do not have, and we do not have a republic, and we do not have a democracy, and we actually have a corporatocracy. Believe it or not.
Corporatocracy, yes we do.
That's exactly what we have.
And a greedyocracy. You could call it a greedyocracy. But the corporations do own everything and everyone. That's a proven fact.
Man, you're just like distracting me, pulling me away from the show. I don't have fresh batteries to just throw in.
Wow.
Say, Brian,
We do not have fresh batteries.
I'll
This is
try a couple
shocking.
more, and if they don't work, like I tried these batteries before and they worked, so it's like now that they're not, I don't really know what to do.
Well,
Now that they're
sorry
not, I
to
don't
do
wanna
it,
just
people.
keep trying.
We once again have lost our video feed and
Yep,
are not going to get it back.
Yep. Money is tight, son. Money is tight. Batteries, and I had all those fucking Kodak ones.
Yeah, what happened to those?
They suck. That's the ones
Oh.
that died.
Oh,
Like,
they're the
I
ones
could
that
try
died in like
using
2
some
minutes.
more of them, but it's gonna die again because they're horrible. So let's see what these will do.
The wonderful world of crappy batteries.
The wonderful world of using AA batteries to film your damn podcast. This is hokey
It
madoki.
might be cheaper for us to get some kind of adapter to plug that in.
I have a battery charger, just not the batteries for it, or I don't know where the damn batteries for it are.
Oh my god.
Like my girlfriend found one, or has one, that she took from her parents' house and it doesn't work. Or what do you call it? I don't even know. I've seen it around. I don't see batteries in it, so I don't use it. And she's yet to say anything about it, so I don't know why she even got it.
Oh, real quick, I'm gonna just throw this out there. Here's our random top 10 list of the week. The top 10, while Nick's
Hey, there you go.
screwing with this camera, the top 10 things you probably didn't know about 9/11. And these are some interesting ones, stuff that you don't normally think of. Yeah, everybody talks about, oh, well, you probably didn't know NORAD was ordered to stand down by Cheney, or you probably didn't know that, you know, this, that, the other. Well, this is a little different. Number one thing you probably didn't know about 9/11. A research shows that a week after 9/11, the alcohol consumption in the Manhattan area rose by 25% and tobacco consumption rose by 12%. Kind of interesting. Just something random you wouldn't think of. Number two, art lost value. When the Twin Towers collapsed, more than $100 million was estimated the total value of the art loss. Interesting, huh? Somebody lost a lot of money there.
This is some interesting stuff.
Number three, the hard work the firefighters put in order to save lives. It was reported the process of extinguishing the fires caused by the attacks took about 100 days.
Yeah, it was going on for a
It was
while.
going and going and going.
There were some hot patches in there. Fires that just continue to burn don't have that hot of patches. There's molten lava, molten steel down in the bottom, steel and other metals down in the bottom.
Yeah, they found it months later when they were
That's-
moving the rubble. It was
that's
still
not-
burning and smoldering.
But you know what else they found? They found like a old like 1600s era pirate ship or something.
I didn't hear about that.
You didn't hear
That's
about
kind of there. You go. There's number 11
I
right
heard
there
about
on the
that
list.
Before, what do you call it? Before I
Pirate
was-
ship found under the Twin Towers.
Right. I was born on a pirate ship.
Oh, number.
wait, what do we got? It's giving me something, dude.
Oh, it's giving us something. Camera's responding, sort
The
of.
camera wouldn't turn on.
Oh, it
at
won't
all
turn on?
before.
Interesting. Well, number 4, the humongous count of dead bodies. The government stated it was able to recover only 291 dead bodies from the 9/11 attacks. The exact number of children who had lost their parents that day is 3,051.
That's
Now,
insane.
it doesn't specify whether any of those children are siblings. They might have lost the same parent, but still, that's a lot of kids to be orphaned on that morning.
Sad, dude.
It really is.
It's really, really sad.
On number 5, everyone heard about the black boxes and how they couldn't find them, and they never found them, but they did find them, and they admitted they found them, but they never said that because they didn't find them. And Well, it was the first time in 40 years a cockpit voice tape, aka black box, was reported to yield absolutely no data whatsoever.
Oh, so they found the black box.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they found one of the firefighters that was on the scene. Personally witnessed them recover 2 of them and heard them say they found a third. Now, why there was a third on the scene at the Twin Towers when only 2 planes hit, that's an interesting thought. Why were there 3 black boxes there that were found? But anyway, I digress. Number 6, making money through the disaster. Did you know that Tim LaHaye and Jerry Jenkins wrote the 2001 American bestseller entitled Desecration, Antichrist Takes the Throne?
What's that have to do with anything?
I believe it was about those attacks. And they made a fortune off of it, writing about it. It was one of the first books to come out.
Wow.
Like a month later.
It
goes 3 hours before the attacks, a machine called Random Event Generator predicted the unfolding of a coming cataclysm.
I think I've heard about that.
Number 8. Did you know that Roselle, a guide dog, saved her blind owner after leading him down 78 stories of the North Tower just before it collapsed?
Didn't know that.
That's kind of interesting. Never doubt the intelligence of your pet. Especially dogs. And guide dogs, they're trained.
Yeah.
That dog saved that Roselle. I'm guessing that's a female. She saved her owner's life.
That's insane, dude.
Number 9, the buried treasure. Doesn't mention your pirate ship, but among the splintered debris, 437 watches, 144 wedding rings, and thousands of other items were found. Doesn't specify what those items are, but I know apparently 2 of them were passports that survived the burning rubble of the explosion of the airplane and were miraculously recovered hours later. And then number 10, Google's Hot Topics. During the 9/11 week, the most researched topics on Google were CNN, Osama bin Laden, Nostradamus, and World Trade Center.
Wow.
Like how Nostradamus is thrown in there. Got all those people. He predicted a lot of things that people could... Nostradamus.
It's going to be so hard to do, but we'll try.
What are we trying to do?
Trying to record.
Oh, we're trying to... Some type of new setup here.
Some fucking shit set up here. I'll tell you what.
We're in the ghetto today.
Hey, if it works, that's all that matters. If it's got us some extra, we can't tell if it ever stops or anything like that. It'll probably just die. My phone will overheat or something. It's my smartphone. My smartphone, Brian. All right. Where are we at? What number are we at?
We just finished up with number 10.
Oh, look at that. Hey,
good timing. Perfect timing.
I stopped paying attention for the last minute. I guess I was paying attention, but now I don't even remember what we were talking about. Oh, Nick.
Yeah.
All right, so we talked about Venus Project. You talked about 9/11. That's some crazy stuff. We got to get into 9/11 one day. And I'll state it right now. My feelings on 9/11 are kind of close to my feelings on somebody like Alex Jones.
See, I look at 9/11 as our generation's JFK or Pearl Harbor.
It's our generation's JFK, for sure. But we're in a completely different technological age. We're also in the age where somebody out there with some cockamamie stupid-ass idea, right? Like the magic bullet theory, right?
Yeah.
Somebody out there with that stupid idea can put together a 2-hour documentary of all his thoughts, trying to give you pseudoscience of how he's backing it all up with his pseudoscience and this and that, and convince all these people how the planes didn't exist. You know what I'm saying? Or the planes were holograms, or I've watched a couple documentaries on literally the media coverage that day and how there were kind of almost glitches in the programs in CNN, Fox News. Some of them had glitches as far as the buildings behind them. The buildings burning behind them. They're standing in front of their window or whatever, and the buildings are burning behind them, or it's a shot that they have of the buildings burning. And I've seen some pretty compelling documentaries regarding how some people tried to say that the plane was put in afterwards. The plane was like added in afterwards. There something was shot. Maybe it was a cruise missile or something, and there was something.
Videos from people filmed on the streets that show the plane.
We've seen the videos of the planes.
I would like to see video of
That's
the plane
the type
hitting
of thing.
the Pentagon. That's the one plane that I want to see
exactly.
video
Well,
of.
you're not going to see that video. If you see
exist.
that video, you'll see it 50 years down the line, or
It doesn't
20
exist.
or 30 years
You'll
down
see,
the line.
Yeah, 50 years down the line.
No, but that's the thing. But here's
you'll see a video of an F-22 shooting a Hellfire missile at the side of the building. That's
question for you, Brian. Question for you. All right, this is where I want to get into the whole 9/11 conspiracy thing one day. Is if there's people out there, and there's plenty of people. It's not like it's a very small fringe group. There's plenty of people out there that believe that the planes didn't exist or that the planes were holograms. There's plenty of people out there, right? Because you watch a couple of these documentaries, it's pretty compelling stuff, right? Okay, so then there's plenty of people out there that believe or know that video graphics has come to the point, even in 2001, had come to the point where you could add something like that in and have it be almost not noticeable. You could add a plane into a TV shot, and especially at a distance, and have it be unnoticeable that it's not even real. You know, that it's a completely composite shot, or the plane itself is completely composite. All right. So having that being the truth, or having that being said, right, that there's a lot of people out there that they believe that that's what was done, right? They believe that the planes were added in post-production, or the planes were not real, you know, they were added in, they're completely composite, right, digital. Okay. With people that believe that, why wouldn't the Pentagon release a doctored video? That they have the ability, probably more than almost anybody else out there, they have the ability to doctor a video where nobody's going to be able to tell that was a fake plane. You know what I'm saying? Or that that's a composite or a digital. So why not put that video out there? You know? Why not put that video out there and satisfy everybody? Or are you waiting for something? Or is there a reason? You know, that's why where you think, oh, they haven't put out the video because no plane hit it. Well, it's like, okay, we know planes hit the towers. Me and you know planes hit the towers. That's our belief, right? We know something hit the Pentagon. We don't know exactly what hit the Pentagon.
I'm 95%.
But if the story,
excited.
but if we know that
we know
false
it wasn't a
information,
757,
but we know false information can be created. Here's what basically
we know for a fact it wasn't a 757
basically
because
what I'm trying
the
to say.
damage doesn't
basically
add up
what I'm
to
trying
the
to say.
wingspan of the plane.
If there was a large group of individuals, either at the Pentagon or in the government, a large group. I don't mean a black operation or anything like that, like a secret operation or anything like that. I mean, if there was a large group, a large percentage of a certain military branch or certain intelligence branch or something like that that was complicit and involved in 9/11, which there's a lot of people who believe that we weren't just lackadaisical and let it happen. We were complicit and made it happen. Okay,
I'm one of those believers.
And I believe that there are certain people that helped make it happen. But I don't believe there was this mass conspiracy that I believe there's many politicians that may have been informed and in on it.
Yeah, I think it might have been mass by definition, but I think it was still a black op. I think a lot of people were in on it, but they were so hush-hush about it up until the days before it happened, when they started giving warnings to all their buddies and things started leaking out. Mm-hmm. Hey, don't fly on this morning. Hey, don't be in New York this morning. Hey, you might want to take the day off. Don't come to work tomorrow.
I think all of that is. I haven't done deep research into it, but I have. That's something I've been very interested in the past. And when I first started looking into 9/11 stuff, and I don't want to say I found it easy to debunk, but I found some of it just complete and total nonsense.
Well, here's a thought.
Like there's a thing out there. There's a thing out there probably before I started researching anything and before I had ever watched any kind of 9/11. My first 9/11 documentary was 9/11 Loose Change. If you don't count Fahrenheit 9/11, which was complete total.
I never even watched it. I
malarkey.
never wasted my time.
But what do you call it? Something I had heard before I ever even watched Loose Change 9/11 and had ever even been interested in any kind of conspiracy was that every Jewish person that worked at the World Trade Centers that day was informed not to come to work. And I've looked into that. I've tried to and I've heard other variations of that it wasn't Jewish people. It was the CEOs, certain people that were working at certain companies were filled in.
There's people that have actually
the Zionists, you know.
People have released their personal copies of their personal emails that they received, telling them, "Don't be flying on this morning," or "Don't come to work on this morning."
But what I'm talking about, see, that's what I'm saying. Like,
bosses.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if. One, that is also the kind of stuff that I want to say. I'm not saying it definitely is, but that's the kind of stuff that can be manipulated to look like it's something more than it is.
Here's a question that I want to pose on this. For years now, people have been arguing over what happened that morning, wanting to know what happened that morning. Mm-hmm. But during that time, that event has been being used to set up this NSA police state that... Do you think it's possible that they carried out 9/11 just because they knew it would be that distraction to keep people occupied for the next... People that would notice what they're doing aren't going to notice now because they're still trying to figure out what happened on 9/11.
Well, yeah, there's going to be plenty of people like that. Plenty of people who are still trying to figure out what happened on 9/11.
But because of that, they're not even paying attention to what's happening now with like the NDAA and
with that, exactly. But they've also shot themselves. They've also shot themselves in the foot by allowing media or maybe pushing media to demonize 9/11 truthers. For a while, it was just, you know what I'm saying, like, not too many news stations, news outlets touched on 9/11 truthers too much. For first 5-6 years after 9/11, not too many news outlets were really touching on 9/11 truthers too much. You know what I'm saying? They actually touched on 9/11 truth sometimes, and some quirks and some things that maybe didn't add up. You know what I'm saying?
And truth
but there
is
came a point where
fiction.
they started demonizing 9/11 truthers and started making them sound like they were all complete and total whack jobs. And that inherently is going to turn some people off of 9/11 truth because they're like, I don't want to be researching something where people look at me as a bad person or as an evil person just because I'm trying to find the truth. Like, I'll go try and find the truth for something else where people aren't going to look at me like...
You could argue that backfired because then you have the people that do realize something was wrong that morning that are seeing that them doing this, and that's part of why the mainstream media has like a 5% belief rating among its viewership.
But what the mainstream media basically indoctrinated people with was... Anybody who is a 9/11 truther, they basically put this general notion out there to the general public, and there's a lot of people who believe hook, line, and sinker everything mainstream media says, right? And trust me, I know it's shrinking, and it's awesome to see it. But for a long time, and even up till a few years ago, there's a large chunk of the population that anything mainstream media put out, like that's the truth, right? And when they started demonizing 9/11 truthers, they put it in such a framework where they didn't say these people aren't looking into real truth. These people are pulling stuff out of the midair, and they don't know what they're talking about, this and that. They were pulling on the heartstrings of America and everybody remembering what happened that day and the death that occurred of all of our fellow American citizens that day. They're pulling on those heartstrings like, you people are pieces of shit. These 9/11 truther people are pieces of shit because they're basically trying to scratch at a wound that isn't even close to healed yet. Yeah. Like, that's the way they put it. So all these normal Americans, all these mainstream media lovers or followers were like, yeah, these 9/11 truthers are pieces of shit. You know what I'm saying? Let these people fucking grieve instead of saying like, oh, well, these planes didn't even exist. Then where did these people's families go? Or that the phone calls weren't even real? Then who did these people talk to? Even though there's plenty of evidence behind that. Like, they don't want to hear that shit. They don't want to hear any of that shit. They're like, that's fucked up that you're trivializing 9/11. That's basically what you're doing is trivializing 9/11 when it seriously affected a lot of people. So 9/11 truthers, right? There's a lot of people who are like, oh, I'm a 9/11 truther. I want to look in. I want to know what the truth is. But they would start talking to the people around them, some of the people they love, some of their friends, this and that, right? And those people are brainwashed by the mainstream media and, like, looking at that person like, you're a piece of shit. Really? You look into 9/11 truth? You're a piece of shit. So all of a sudden they're like, I don't know if I want anything to do with this.
You also get the ones
or they shut up and start looking into stuff a little bit more.
You also get the ones where it's, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You have no idea. I haven't looked into anything, and you've been researching it, but you still don't know what you're talking about because I heard on the news that this is what happened.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people don't like to believe, unless you say that you've gone to school, you're either going to school, have gone to school and gotten your degree in whatever, or have gone abroad to study or something. You know what I'm saying? Like you've unless you've gone to certain institutions or something, there's no way any of your research is valid.
Okay,
there's no way anything you say
study abroad
makes any sense or has any basis in truth or fact.
Okay, I could argue that a buddy of mine went to Afghanistan to study abroad for 2 years and learned that the Marines are defending opium crops. How was he studying it? Because he was one of those Marines defending them. Mm-hmm. And he's not too happy about that.
Well, people also rely on cognitive dissonance. Somebody hears that and they're like, or they just tell themselves that you're making it up in all reality. I think a lot of people, I'll look at people and I'll tell them something,
like,
and they'll be like, no, that's stupid. And I'm like, no, that's definitely the truth. I know it sounds kind of crazy, and you don't hear people talking about it, but that's definitely the truth. Like cancer cures, and there's like, no, I don't think so. And then...
And the government patenting AIDS.
What the fuck? What was I just getting ready to say? I literally just blanked out.
Cancer cures, people, when you know 100% that it's the truth and people still...
Oh, yeah, and then they still don't believe it, and you're like, no, it's definitely true, and you're telling them with a level head, you're looking them straight in the eye, like they know that deep down, they know you're shooting straight to them,
They know that you believe what you're telling.
Exactly. So they either convince themselves that you're making shit up, or two... you don't quite understand shit, and that you're believing...
you're misinterpreting.
Yeah, exactly. You're believing something that isn't quite the truth.
People.
You're kind of seeing it in a different light than it really is.
I get
you know
that
what I'm saying? And like, or they just look at you like you're stupid. Like, no, like really, that somebody told you that. They look at how we look at people who listen to mainstream media. They look at the internet, just the internet itself, as being how we look at mainstream media. Like, oh, he learned it on the internet. Oh my God, shut up. Are you serious? You learned this on the internet? Doesn't matter if you learned that from the Harvard website or not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Unless you say, I learned this, I logged into the Harvard website and I learned this. Unless you say that, they're just thinking, you researched on the internet? Okay, yeah, what do you know, buddy? So what school did you go to? Oh, yeah, that's right, you research on the internet. It's like people look at you that way. You know, it really... For the first couple of years I did, it really discouraged me. Every now and then it can discourage me now when somebody I love kind of like puts me down like that, like almost like, well, anything I've looked into because of the sources that I've gone to, even though they don't even know the sources, but because of the sources I've used, since it's not an official established source or a job that forced me to learn it or a school that I went to learn it and get a degree in it, then there's no way that I can have any say in it. It hurts when somebody I love like treats me like that. That's how they treat me, but as far as regular everyday people, I've gotten so past it. Whereas I can tell somebody something, if they're non-responsive or they want to look at me like as I'm lying or I don't know what I'm talking about, this or that, I just let it go. I'll try and convince them for about fucking a half a second.
I love when you can go
half a minute
on,
or something.
On an official military branch's website or go pull up FOIA requests. That's Freedom of Information Act requests. And like stuff that's been released, official government documents, the actual white papers that say declassified on them, and things like that. And people will sit there and say, "No, you're wrong," because, and they'll back it up with something from either Wikipedia or WhiteHouse.gov.
Yep. And
I just laugh, like, really? That's your argument?
Well, you would think, like, when you think about that,
Politico talking points.
You would think that Jesse Ventura's 63 documents the government doesn't want you to read. You would think once that came out, like, that would be big, and like there would be a lot of people talking about it. Like, did you see that? And it's like,
I'm still
people don't have interest in like it comes down to
very revealing, very telling.
Dude, it comes down to it doesn't come down to it, but I can't help but think of the NSA thing. The NSA's released paper, I believe they released it in like 2004 or something. It was so long ago now, but they released a paper that was basically laid out their communication that they've had with an alien species, an alien race.
That was in the book, yeah.
Like, wait, what? Hold up. This is the type of shit that people should be like, oh my God, are you serious? Like, this is crazy.
No, that's the problem. They have to read the book in order to find that out.
But people don't
read books anymore.
You don't need to read the book to find that out. You got to open your mind and believe. Like, there's a lot of people who believe, like, no, that's not possible. There's no, there's no way that's not possible. And from that belief, they refuse to ever look into anything. It's like people who don't believe in UFOs, or even people who don't believe in ghosts, until they have some sort of experience of it themselves that forces their brain to say, well, what was that? I want to know a little bit more about that. Like, I'm a little confused. Like, I don't understand that. Like, can you teach me more? Eyes, body, bring me to more information on that. Until they actually reach that, they have no interest whatsoever. And it's like, it boggles my mind. But it's not just UFOs, it's not just ghosts. It's a lot of people with politics, a lot of people with economics. Like me, I'm scared.
What the hell, man? Why is
I'm
gas so expensive? Yeah, gas went down.
I'm not scared of economics, but I look at economics as like what's the frickin' the mountain? Mount Everest. Economics and finances and global finance is Mount Everest to me. And you know what? I feel like when I really understood that it was all a sham, and I still understand it's all a sham, but now I try and understand it more and how it works and the ebbs and flows of it and the systems that are in place. And
the best way to, if you have no idea how it works, it was not even a book, really. It was a pamphlet called "War is a Racket."
Yeah, "War is a Racket," but that's
Smedley
that's
Butler.
not. That does
explain.
explain.
It'll open the door to your mind to where you say, "What the hell? I want to know more about this."
Well, that's not. That doesn't exactly. That's not exactly world finance and economy. That's a huge part.
Explains how world finance and economy plays into the never-ending war machine.
Yes, but that's not what I'm talking about.
But that's what I'm saying. That's to pique people's interest.
That's what I mean by it's Mount Everest, because it ties into so many other things. It ties into poverty. It ties into charity. It ties into
but people need. The point is, people need to take the first step and say, I want to know more about this, instead of so many people saying, well, it doesn't affect me. Yes, it does.
Yeah, but you know what?
Yes, it does.
Something like finances and world finance and shit, that's the type of stuff we all need to just forget about. Because the more people that are like, I want to learn about it so that I can know how to change it. Okay, I don't want to learn about it so that I can get involved one day and possibly make a boatload of money.
Yeah.
That's not really my interest in learning about it, because I know it's a antiquated, dying system, and it's going to die. Whether it's my lifetime or my children's or my grandchildren's, it's going to die. I don't want to participate in a dying system. I'd rather be a participant in the creation of the next system, whether it's 100 years down the line or 5 years down the line. I'd like to be a participant in that and focus on that and give attention to that and push other people or encourage other people to focus on that instead of focus on a sham. You know what I'm saying? And it's like people who...
And the Federal Reserve is the biggest sham this country's
I was just about to say, Federal Reserve is a sham, and you can focus on the Fed, but the only way that you can focus on the Fed and their policies and QE3, QE4, QE forever, you know what I'm saying?
Unlimited.
You could focus on Ben Bernanke or whoever the new chick is, right? You can focus on all that, but the only thing you should be focusing on the Fed is end the Fed.
Agreed.
That's the only thing you should be focusing on.
110% agreed.
To support all the end the Fed protests and groups and that movement. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to happen.
Needs to be ended. You want proof the Fed needs to be ended? If you know absolutely nothing about the Federal Reserve, why they were established, who established, what they do, how they play into our economics, all you need to know is President John F. Kennedy wanted to end the Fed, and he was assassinated 4 days later.
Now, all you actually need to know, if you want to know about the Federal Reserve, there's a wonderful book. It is the book to go to and to understand the creation of the Federal Reserve. You want to look for a book out there. You can find it on Amazon, I'm sure. It's probably even cheap, too. You can probably get a paperback copy, used copy, real cheap, too. Creature from Jekyll Isle.
Don't know that one.
Creature from Jekyll Isle? Are you on drugs, Brian? Come on, Brian. I have it on PDF, but don't even ask me to bust it out for you, because I don't even know where my PDFs are at the moment.
I can probably find
between all these stuffs. All right, I put Creature PDF. All right, Creature. There it is. Creature from Jekyll Island. All right, by G. Edward Griffin, of course.
Okay.
All right, ready? This is the Google's frickin', what do you call it? Oh, look. Oh. I was going to give you Google's little synopsis of it, but they didn't have a Google synopsis on it. Of it. All right, basically, I'll give you the what it has of it. Traces the history of the Federal Reserve, revealing how the American government has used the Reserve as a way to deceive taxpayers and control the global economy, and explaining how the Reserve influences, I would say, global political events and things like that. More than likely,
that sounds like a pretty good book.
Yeah, but it's a great book. It like
if people would read.
Nobody
reads anymore. That's one of the biggest things I've run into. Well, did you ever read 1984?
Okay.
Oh, I don't read books.
Okay. Now, to save books, I care about books. Obviously, I care about books more than maybe maybe they care about me. I don't know how to put it, but
I care about books more than I care about DVDs.
I love books. Okay, I love books. I don't read them as much as I should, and I plan on one day becoming just. And I think maybe the reason I get so many books is one. When I have a child, I want my child to have access to all the information that he could possibly have access to, and
because
choose.
by then online it'll probably have been altered.
But I want him to be. I want him to be able to pick and choose, and I don't want him to just be subject to what's online. Yes, it's going to all be altered. There's going to be a lot of books that are no longer available, and there's going to be a lot of books that are like. You're not going to get the same feeling you get from sitting there cuddling up in bed or whatever it is and reading your book. Like, my kid's not going to get the same feeling from sitting there cuddling up with his tablet. Maybe I don't want him sitting there cuddling up with a damn tablet with an electronic device.
People like movies because they can see what's happening in front of them.
Hence.
Now, here's the thing. I'm sitting there. The first time I read 1984, I could visualize in my head like a movie, and it was almost... You get more detail out of a book because a lot of good authors will give you those backstories. Your Tom Clancy's, your Robert Ludlum's, George Orwell with 1984 did a good job.
Question for you. In this coming technological day and age, we're actually going to have to wrap it up soon. I just wanted to touch on something else. What do you call it? In this coming technological day and age, right? Are we not able to? I want to save the book. I'm scared that the book is going to disappear. You know, I used to hate the library. Yeah. It's crazy because I used to hate the library, and now like I don't ever go into the library. But I
do sometimes.
I value the library, dude. I used to value the library because it was free internet access. Now, and that was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Now I value the library because
there's books there that.
But there's not just that there's books there with information, this and that. It's because. It's like how the financial system
Americana
is a dying, antiquated system. That needs to die, and I can't wait to see it die. Yes. Books are a dying, antiquated system, or a dying, antiquated way of sharing information, right? It's just too slow. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not going to last because it's too slow. I need it now. If I'm trying to publish something, I want it to be accessed tomorrow. I want it to be accessed in 10 minutes. If I just finished it, I don't want it to wait to be published and sit on bookshelves and hope that people read it, and I have to push it, market it, and this and that. Why don't I just have a link online that people can just click and download it and pay me 99 cents or something, and I'm good to go. I can make a lot more money that way. And, like... Unfortunately, that's what it comes down to. People just want to make money the fastest and the quickest way they can. But books are a dying, antiquated system, and I don't want to see them go. But it's going to eventually go.
There is a lot of people who just don't read. That's what they tell me is, I don't read. Okay. I don't read books. I don't like books. I don't like
There's
reading.
a lot of people who take regular books and scan them into digital format and put that out as a PDF. Yes. Okay, that's a great thing that people are doing.
The people I'm talking about are the type that won't even read those.
Yeah.
They just
no. Let me listen to my premise. Listen to my premise because this is pretty interesting. All right, knowing that's where our society is going. That's where generations are heading. The new generations. That's their life. Like the books are not really a book. Really, we don't read a book anymore. I got my tablet. I got my smartphone. I got my laptop. I'm good to go on the whole book thing. All right, okay. So if that's how they're going to be, we can sit here and we can say, no, we need to convince them how great books are and this and that. There will be a book revolution. I guarantee you, before books completely die off, there will be a book revolution where it's trendy and cool to be carrying around an old school book and be reading it.
That'll
maybe
be
10, 15 years from now.
Kill switch and people can't access information
It'll be when VR, maybe 10 years from now, when VR is fully interactive and is a whole nother world. Okay, so it'll be the almost complete opposite of that would be being in real world. Okay, because when you're in that VR, it's like literally a whole nother world where you're living a whole nother life and this and that. You know what I'm saying? So when you're in real world, the trendy thing to do while you're in real world is to carry around a book and read your book sometimes because you're actually interacting with the real world and that's the newest form of media and the longest or the oldest form of media is reading a book. So you're going to want to read a book. But it's only going to be a trendy thing. It's going to be stupid ass books. Clifford the Big Red Dog or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be the stupidest stuff that you ever heard. Or if it's good stuff, maybe it'll be bathroom readers. Bathroom readers are pretty
I don't
awesome.
know. But I don't know if I have to choose between reading Clifford or watching Al My Balls. I mean,
Clifford, son. You might be Al My Balls, but I'm Clifford, son. You know, it's funny. There's two big blue dog. There's a big blue dog and there's a big red dog.
Blue's Clues.
Blue's Clues. So that's a Democrat, you know what I'm saying? Then you got, what's his name?
Oh, yeah.
Clifford, who's your
Clifford the
Republican dog. Yeah, anyway, all right, what I was saying was,
Or you
okay.
could go blue and red, one who's for humanity and one who's a commie.
Yeah. Or you could go get into Power Rangers and just start busting down the whole international political game.
Power Rangers is the most racist show ever made.
Yeah, the Black Ranger. Oh,
This will take me 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Okay.
The guy who's of Native American heritage is the Red Ranger. The Asian is the Yellow Ranger. The little cute white girl is the Pink Ranger. The black dude's the Black Ranger.
Yep.
How much more racist can you get?
What do you call it? The what do you call it? White dude was the Red Ranger, where it's like, okay, right. And then all of a sudden, a couple years later...
No, he was Native American heritage.
The Red Ranger?
The original Red Ranger was half Native American.
Okay, well then they brought in a white guy, and he was in the white costume, and they tried to treat him like he was God.
The White Ranger was like God. Derived from the Green Ranger. He was the sixth one. They brought in the evil Power Ranger, and then he
joined forces, and then he became the Silver Ranger, right?
Yeah, he went from the Green Ranger. He lost his powers, and then he became the White Ranger.
And then he became the White Ranger with that. Oh my God, Brian, you know your Power Rangers.
I remember Power Rangers
way too well. All right.
No, I know what you're thinking of. The red one, the yellow one, and I think the black one at one point wanted more money to do the show, and they refused to pay them, so they left and they brought in new people. You're getting the white guy.
I don't know. Yeah, and that's like right when I stopped watching.
That's when I stopped watching it.
And I even watched Barney when everybody would make fun of Barney. People would make fun of Barney on the regulars, right? And I would go home and I'd watch an episode of Barney. I think it was on like 2 or 3 times a day, and I'd watch one of those episodes because you know what? It was fucking interesting.
I did.
You know what?
I watched Thomas the Tank Engine.
Oh, dude, Thomas was my shit. Don't get me started on Thomas. So with what's her name? Come on, what is her name? She has the pregnancy documentary, and it's a great documentary too.
Who are we talking about?
Ricky Lake. Okay, Ricky Lake was on there, and
she was,
and my homeboy. What's his name?
The station, yeah.
My freaking
Ringo
brain.
Starr was on there, and so was George Carlin.
George Carlin, the conductor. Oh, my God.
Ringo Starr was the first Mr. Conductor, and then George Carlin.
All right, my brain is like...
Ain't that crazy?
It's starting to hurt.
George Carlin also getting way too off track. Show. That should blow your mind.
Books. We were talking about books. Okay, right? Books. Here's my plan for books, or what I think we should do with books, with the technological abilities that we have available to us and the creative minds that are out there just itching and looking for something to do. I know that, how they have writer's block. I know there's creative block. There's people out there who have creative block.
But I got to bring this up.
All right, we'll stop. All right. Just let me go. All right. Fuck. Oh, books. All right, books. You got me thinking about Power Rangers and Thomas the Train.
Books here because I got something. Okay. I just want to play an excerpt for the people.
Books.
On books.
All right, well, you're not going to play it on there, so you're going to have to tell me what it is, and I'll pull it up on here. Once you get it up, I'll just pull up the same site or whatever. All right, books. So this is what I want to do with the technological ability and the creative minds that we have out there. And there's creative minds. There's only more and more creative minds growing out there. Like more people grow up with a computer and have the ability to use Photoshop and things like that, and edit videos and yada yada yada. Right?
YouTube.
Hold on one second. What my idea is basically how there's a lot of people who put books online, who basically scan books and put them up as PDF versions.
And I love those people.
But there's still, the problem is there's still a lot of people, including myself. I hate to think of myself like this, but myself a lot of times, not all the time. How about taking those books, and with virtual reality coming out, and that would be awesome to be able to turn them into virtual reality, and that it could be a whole new immersive experience. For even the oldest books, you could make it an immersive experience. But turning books into fuck TV, like probably 20 years ago, if somebody came up with the idea, they'd say, turn a book into a TV show. Well, no, your TV show, you're limited to your half hour. You know what I'm saying? With a book, you can do each chapter as its own like video or its own like series or something.
Like the holodeck, basically.
Not necessarily the holodeck. That's where I would eventually lead to, especially with virtual reality. You could be
like
interactive.
How Data would relive Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, like exactly.
Novels.
You could be interactive in virtual reality. But I'm talking about right now. We could easily, there's got to be somebody out there that's good at animation or 3D animation or something like that, or even somebody who has the production ability to film books. And it doesn't have to be like That's what I'm saying. With animation, would be the best way to go because you don't have to constantly be creating new sets and new locations and stuff like that. Animation, you could just do it all. If somebody knew how to animate, or you had a good animation team, you could do it easily that way. But why not turn books into like 2-hour long animations or movies on YouTube or online that people could just watch, and like a kid who's interested in a book and somebody says, oh, you got to check out this book, but that kid knows that they can't get through a book. They get through 10 pages of the book, and their ADD brain or this distracted world is just pulling them away from that book. What if they could sit down in front of the computer, in front of the TV, and turn on that book and basically watch the story of that book unfold in animation form?
It's called a 3D movie. And a lot of time it doesn't include all the details that's in the book.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Where I just said, like, and that's
you don't get all that backstory.
No. But what you're missing is there's. I just said an hour, 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? To squeeze it into an hour, 2 hours. That was not my original thought. Yeah, if you could do that with some smaller books, I'm sure I got a couple. 100-page books.
I'd like
here.
to immerse myself in 63 documents.
Okay, but you're thinking of immersing yourself. You're thinking of the virtual reality. To pull your mind away from the virtual reality aspect, that's 10, 15 years down the line. And to even think about getting there, I think this would be the logical first step, is to transfer books into video format. All right? So instead of trying to condense it down to an hour or 2 hours long, the whole book, you're going to run into exactly what you come into with movies. You're missing information. You're not getting all the details. You're not getting everything that you want, right? How about books? And it could also, even if it got popular, people could help us like create what they see in their mind when they read that book. People who actually have read the book could help out creating what the world should look like, or what the vision should look like.
I've read a lot of good books.
Even if you just made like half-hour chapters or hour-long chapters, each chapter you covered in full detail, the whole entire book.
Yeah.
But you covered in full detail, so you have visual reference for all of that. If I had something where I could read a book and have visual reference, my memory when it comes to words, not good. I can read something and I can remember it for a day or two, but past that, I'm only remembering little chunks of it, and then after a year or something, I've forgotten it completely. But when I have visual things tied to memory, when I have visual things tied to something that's been said to me, when I'm being told about a ringing telephone and I'm looking at a telephone ringing on the table and somebody's explaining how the telephone works and how a signal comes to that telephone, and I'm watching the signal come along the wire, and it's animated for me, I remember that. That visualness, like, I fully remember. Whereas a book, I can remember it and I can like really enjoy it. But after a month or two, I only remember chunks of it. And then after a year or two, it's completely gone. But visual stuff I hold on to for so much longer. It's so much easier for me to catalog and store in my brain and access and actually hold as a memory, whereas the words just get lost. I look at words as almost like a smush smash of shapes. You know, that's all words are. They're just shapes, different shapes, and lines twisted with extra things and dots put here and there. It's just, that's kind of, maybe I'm just a little bit dyslexic. Maybe that's really what it is. I am a little bit dyslexic. That is dyslexia.
I like when books are made into movies after I've read the book, because then it gives me something visual to associate to it. Mm-hmm. But no, I just think, going back to what we were saying, how people are getting away from books, and we need to bring them back. Just punch up YouTube, and I know people at home might not be familiar with the name Mark Dice, but he's been on the History Channel.
Are you trying to pull up this fucking thing, man? Trying to put people down? I don't like that video.
No, not put people down. Just prove a point, a social experiment. We're not trying to put anyone down here, but not that one, not that video. The one where we want to go to YouTube and search for Mark Dice author.
You're painting my rear end, man.
No, this just, I wasn't even going to do this, but we got on this topic, and I didn't know we were going to get into this book topic today. It just came out of nowhere with the flow of the show.
He's got 2 minutes of our time.
Okay,
I don't want to give Mark Dice too much of our time, because Mark Dice pisses me off.
It's a YouTube video called Mark Dice Name an Author. It's one of his little man on the street type interviews.
So these people act like they know who Mark Dice is, and he's this great guy.
No. This is something.
Where's the video? You're not telling me where this video is. You just sent me to Mark Dice's site. I'm looking at his videos.
YouTube Mark Dice author, and it'll come up.
I put in
if
what
not-
YouTube.
okay,
All right,
fine,
Mark
go to-
Dice author.
Yeah, on YouTube. You put it in on Google.
You pain in my rear ass.
I searched this up on YouTube and it came right up.
YouTube and Google are almost the same.
Almost, but not. But Google does own YouTube.
Nobody owns either.
Well, whatever. Right there.
You're right. Can you name an author of a book? Any author? Neil Donald Walsh.
What book are you reading
Toll.
right
George Orwell.
I'm not even
Jesse
looking
Ventura.
behind
There's
me.
no audio.
What's the last book?
Of course, there's no audio. Jackass, I can't put on audio. Damn it!
Can't recall.
We can't put on audio because then we'd have to mute ourselves, or else we would hit. All right, look. No, we can't do that because then it's gonna echo through. We can try. It might sound crazy. Just don't talk, Brian. Because if I mute us, it's not going to come through. It's
What book
going-
are you reading?
Now here, I got you. I got you, broski.
Let's see, because the people need to hear this. It's
Well,
unbelievable.
we'll try not to people. You just can't talk while we're doing it. See? I don't think it's gonna work.
What book are you reading right now? Reading any books these
I'm
days?
not reading any books right now.
When's the last time you read a book?
It's been a while.
Who needs books these days when we have the internet, right?
Right.
What book are you reading right now? No books. No books. Reading any books these days?
No?
We're talking about books today.
Talking about books?
Come on. I want to talk to you about books. No books? Name an author of any book.
I'm blanking.
Reading any books these days?
Not really.
Who needs to read books when you can just skate through life on your looks, right?
Thank you.
Are you reading any books these days?
Gosh, it's been a while. No, I'm not. I'm not reading any books right now.
Can you name an author? Some book? Any book? Hey,
Nicholas Sparks.
The Notebook.
talking about books today.
Books?
Reading any good books these days?
Not really.
Who needs books when you can skate through life on your looks, right?
Sure, I guess.
Can you name a book written? Name an author of a book.
Can't name.
Just any author of any book.
Alright. Before you start talking, I gotta mute us again. Alright. And let me bring you back. Or me back. Okay.
So,
Alright.
name an author of a book.
Yes.
Any author of
Name
any
an author
book.
of a book. Okay,
I don't know.
now
That's just
Now,
startling.
listen to me. Well, hear me out. Just hear me out real quick, and then we got to wrap the show up because we're pushing it. All right. Right? Name any book or an author. Okay? Even though he didn't say name any book, because a lot of people could have said the Bible. You can go out and interview 100 different people, and you'll get 10 different people that say to you, "Nah, I can't think of an author, no, sorry." Or you might run into people that aren't even really interested in talking to you, and they're not going to give you an answer no matter what. You know what I'm saying? Unless you interest them, which they're very hard to interest or impress or whatever it is, right? But you can go out and interview 100 people, and you'll get the answers that you want. And then if you show one of the 90 people that answered with a author name, and then 10 of the people, the other 10 people that couldn't give you an author's name, it really looks like there's some stupid people out there. Now, with that also said, there are a lot of people out there that would not be able to answer that question. But that actually, since you were talking about books, that brought up a great point. There's a lot of people that couldn't answer you, like, I don't know an author, or I couldn't give you an author, you know what I'm saying? I can think of authors off the top of my head because
So
I have
can I.
favorite authors, you know
Exactly.
what I'm saying?
Tom Clancy, Robert Ludlum,
oh my God,
George
look at
Orwell,
that.
William Cooper,
Oh,
Jesse
Ralph
Ventura.
Waldo Emerson is awesome.
Alex
We
Jones,
sound like some nerds on
Glenn
the
Beck.
39 nerds. Oh, did you just say
Gene
Alex Jones?
Roddenberry.
Glenn Beck? You just said Glenn Beck? I thought
He's
you
an
didn't
author.
Like Glenn Beck.
He's not a favorite of mine, but he's an author.
He's not a favorite of mine either.
Okay, Gene Roddenberry.
Oh,
Wrote
hey,
Star Trek.
He
Oh.
said Gene Roddenberry, folks. I actually hope to be an author one day. One day soon, within the next
Walt
5
Disney
years or
was
so,
an
I hope
author.
to write a book. All right. Okay. So with that, coming out
Anyone
of that
who
book
ever
topic,
wrote any book ever is an author.
coming out of that book topic, okay? What I would like to do, maybe we can get Random Task on this. I think he would be perfect for the situation. So Random Task, call in Random Task, report to the studio. Random task. Report to the studio. Thank you. All right. So what I want to do is I want to send random task out, and your mission here, you're part of this since my idea, my light bulb idea, kind of came up with this, right? All right. What I want you to do is along the lines of that question. Okay. I want you to along the lines of the question of, can you name me an author of a book? Okay. I want you to come up with questions that you believe. Okay, this is an experiment to show our audience kind of how, I don't want to say how Mark Dice works or how Alex Jones works or anything like that, because it's not like that's exactly what they're doing, but to show people that it's possible to do it that way, or possible to kind of manipulate things sometimes. Don't go out with ban water. Don't go out with ban water, because then you're just trying to trick people. We are not, and they do videos where they try and trick people. Like I've seen that.
True.
That's the band tied to ban water sounds like a Alex Jones or a Mark Dice idea. Maybe it was.
I think Alex Jones's people did an episode.
You see, that's what I'm saying. Okay,
banned dihydrogen monoxide.
That's more of
Penn and Teller
tricking
sketch.
people. Okay, same with the one you wanted to show me where. And that just angers me, because you are tricking people, and that's like it's not taking advantage, but it's almost making fun of people for their own lack of knowledge, when that's not, I don't know if that's something that we should be really.
Screwdriver?
No, not the left-handed screwdriver. The Martin Luther King video of them going up to people and saying, "Hey, did you hear Martin Luther King died in a car accident or something yesterday or something like that?" And people saying
that
like
came out a few hours
just completely believing it. It's like, that's wrong. In my opinion, that's wrong, because you're just tricking people for your own audience's entertainment, and I don't like that. That's I don't really see how anything productive is being pulled out of that, other than exposing that people don't know stuff that they should easily know. Well, that's not
stuff that we learned in.
That is stuff that we learned in middle school, but
that tells me that the education system's crumbling.
Yeah, exactly. But that's
a good way to.
That's where to focus on that. No,
that's not a good way. This was common knowledge years ago. Now these people don't even know the guy's dead.
But I don't know if that is a good way.
What are we teaching our children?
No, but I don't know if that is, because that's also a good way to expose that people watch too much TV, or that people don't care about anything important, or that people ingest too many foods that put them in a cloud and they can't concentrate, or they can't remember anything of any kind of importance. Like, there's so many things that could suggest. That suggests that there's people out there that don't know any kind of history. Everything they were taught in school, they completely forgot, and they don't care about anymore enough to really know, and they're not the circles that they're in.
The schools aren't doing anything to make them care.
Oh yeah,
it's just they don't want to care. They don't want to learn this shit.
It's the schools
then they get out in the real
general
world, and it's like, man, I wish I paid more.
A lot of people don't understand, and I think if a lot of people don't understand that the Rockefellers have really screwed this country over in many more ways than one. Exactly.
Many ways.
If you understand that fact, and then you come to find out that the Rockefellers set up the National Board of Education or whatever, or our national education system, then you come to understand why our education system is veered towards such shit. You know?
Yeah, I think back, the history books when I was in school did say a lot of great things about the Rockefeller family.
Yeah, they did.
Wonderful people they were.
Okay, so what I need you to do is come up with a few questions, and I don't want them to be questions where you feel like you're tricking somebody, and it's something, oh, well, you should know that, when it's like, no, the good 99% of people don't know that dihydrogen monoxide or whatever is actually called water. 99% of people don't know that. Maybe they should, but it's not something 99% of people. So it's going out and asking people that. That's just tricking people and saying, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's a little funnier than the Martin Luther King thing, but it's still like, I don't see any substance there, any quality to actually prove anything with something like that. But something where you're asking somebody about books, that can be manipulated. I want to prove that can be manipulated, but I want you to come up with that kind of a question where it's something that simple. You know what I'm saying? Something where everybody should be able to answer it. You know what I'm saying? And we'll go out and we'll ask 100 different people. We'll interview 100 different people and ask them that question. And what you'll watch, because we'll take the video and we'll take the 5 or 6 people that don't have an answer, or don't have a good answer. It's like, how do you not have a good answer? Everybody else, like, everybody's got a good answer. How do you not have a good answer? Take those 5 or 6 people, we'll clip them all together, and then in the middle we'll put one person that makes sense, or says what we're all thinking, what we all think we already know. and clip that together and put it out as a video
I think that's the
of how
one
people are
downside.
idiots or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
I love how Mark Dice does those videos, but the way he makes the people look stupid. Like, I remember the one, it was for the 9/11 anniversaries. So, do you think it's too soon to forget, or are you going to do anything to remember when the Decepticons attacked the Sears Tower in New Jersey on 9/11?
Yeah, like that's just stupid. Exactly.
People are falling for it. And
People are
like,
falling for it, but
that was one where even I'm like, wow, this is just
but the problem
dumb.
is, like, that's detracting from any kind of movement towards a conscious revolution of humanity.
Yes.
That's fully detracting from it because that's being what humanity is now and saying, like, we're
It's
kind
like,
of...
where were you when the Power Rangers killed JFK?
See, I look at us as we're kind of still as humanity is now, but we're honest people, we're kind people. You know what I'm saying? Like, when we think of doing something like that, yeah, you might think of doing some of those things, but you see them do it and you think it's funny, and you think it would be funny to do kind of the same thing or something along the same lines, and it might be funny, but we're not consciously thinking that we want to go out and put people down or we want to go out and make people look stupid and this and that. Whereas some of those videos, I really think that's their goal and their agenda is not to go out and prove a point that, oh, people don't know this and they should and this and that. No, we're going to go out and make some people look stupid today and get 100,000 views on our YouTube because people will be like, really? I can't believe these people don't know this. Oh my God, they're so stupid. And it's like, that's what they're banking on is people sitting there laughing at the video like, oh, those people are so stupid. Like, really? I can't believe people are that stupid. And it's like,
it all knew all my balls.
yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's out my balls. We're not producing out my balls, and people shouldn't be producing out my balls. If you want to institute change and you talk about change, then don't go out and produce some stupid shit like that just for a little bit of publicity or a little bit of fandom and
just for humor,
for some
throwing this
YouTube
out
views.
There. I noticed
ridiculous.
there are people on YouTube
Disgusting,
that are
bro.
making their own homemade "Ow My Balls" videos,
Oh, really?
and you have to question the intelligence of doing that. But
At first thought, I wanted to definitely think about how I could make myself an out my balls.
I think
video.
they're really taking shots at their
Well,
balls. Like,
what are you on drugs? You have to take shots to your balls, man. What the fuck's wrong with you? You wear a cup, but it's still gonna hurt somewhat. You gotta. It's called out my balls for a reason. It's not called ooh, my testicles, ooh, my berries, my
berries.
my twig and berries. Ooh, that seems to have tingled them. No, it's called ow my balls for a reason, son. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up with that. All right, I wanted to touch on a couple things. I'm not even gonna touch on them. I just want to say that we will touch on them on next week's show. All right, so I wanted to touch on maybe I can have Brian look into these a little bit more. I'll try and look into them a little bit more myself.
Oh, the 30.
Oh, what the fuck? Okay, it's here. Okay. Oh yeah, okay, all right. I gotta find it better though. This one I printed out looks like shit. I can't even read it really. All right. Basically, I found this from Fark.com. Fark.com is a great little news site. Speaking of, TeslaTime.com will be up probably by February. 3NN website. I really just got to do a little bit of tweaking. I can put it up. It's no frills. It's really just gonna have our episodes on it in a chat room. You know what I'm saying? And maybe like links to news sites we touch on or topics we touch on, our sources. But Tesla Time's going to be up, and it's going to have all the news sites that I frequent, all the news sites that Brian frequents. It's going to have all the documentaries that we have seen, all the quality documentaries. We don't want to put no shit up there, but it's going to have all the links to all the quality documentaries, all the important faces in activism, important faces or celebrities who actually care, or celebrities who are true or honest celebrities, not just about making money and this and that. They actually have a goal. Like Jesse Ventura is an honest celebrity. I consider Judge Napolitano an honest celebrity. And then you also, Ron Paul's an honest celebrity, and I'm so happy to say he's a celebrity because he is.
He is.
But there's a lot of celebrities, so it's going to have a whole bunch of stuff like that. So definitely look out for
There's a lot of
TeslaTime.com.
honest celebrities out there. By the way, Bill Clinton did not inhale and did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yeah, I don't know how neither one counts, but whatever. All right,
he's so
Fark.com.
honest.
We're going to touch on this on next Wednesday's show. The U.S. has 30 national emergencies. You heard that right. 30 national emergencies currently in effect, including one from the Iran hostage crisis. So that's
That's
pretty.
back in the late 80s, ladies and
no,
gentlemen.
no, no. We got some that are, I believe, still going since World War II.
Yeah, wasn't there one from
1928,
the 1800s?
I think.
No, there was one from a fire in the late 1800s that's still going.
No, I think the earliest one that's going right now is, I had it on here. The bank holiday of March 6, 1933.
Ah.
It was an executive order, but it was never lifted, so all the banks are still on bank holiday, believe it or not.
Interesting.
Maybe that makes sense as to why we have such tomfoolery and fuckery going on in our
banking system.
in our banking system, and
Wait, what year
Glass-Steagall removed
Wait, that was
or
33?
dismantled, and
You said 33?
That was 33, right after the Depression.
When was the Federal Reserve instituted?
Federal Reserve was instituted, I believe, in 1913. So 20 years to the day, almost like they had a 20-year plan.
Yeah.
20 years and 3 months after the founding of the Federal Reserve, everything kind of went topsy-turvy. It went into bank holiday and never got lifted. I don't know what's up with that. Russell Brand, come on our show. You're the man. I can't wait, dude. He's an awesome dude. Tell you what, he really is. He talks to his fans, dude. He talks to his fans. He's how we're gonna be. If we get some fans, man,
We got fans. What are you talking about?
We got fans. I know. I'm just fucking around. But our fans don't talk to us. And if they talk to us, we would be so quick to talk back to them. So quick to interact with you. If you got a great point, we're gonna bring it up on the show. Like, that's what I'm talking about. April brought up a point on one of the shows, commented on one of the shows, and brought up a point, but said that something wasn't real or something. I don't fucking know what it was, but it was about something that we already know that wasn't real. We were just messing around, so I didn't really feel the need to bring that up. But anybody who really says something, April, if you want to say something else or comment something else, if it's a valid point or if it's something that's that needs to be said, trust me, it will be said on the show. And also, we're also always looking for our third non-nerd. Anybody is willing, or not anybody who is willing to be a guest. Anybody that would like to be a guest, we're willing to give you an opportunity to see if it'll work and to talk to us. So we would love to have some extra people on.
Yeah, it's always good to get other points of view.
Honestly, I would love to have like a Tesla roundtable one day or 3NN roundtable. I think it would be kind of fun. As of right now, since last week, our third nerd is God. Our third non-nerd is God for the time being because he's just hanging out. He's around.
He's just chilling.
Yeah, he's just chilling. So
since Alf,
I'd like to say he doesn't have much to say, but he's pretty much me talking and he's pretty much you talking. So he's got a lot to say. It's just he doesn't have his own voice to say it. So
and we can't have Alf as our third non-nerd because he was shot by that sniper a few weeks ago.
Alf was actually sitting up there
for protesting. Hands up, don't shoot. His hands were up,
I don't know
but he
if
got
anybody
shot.
can see, but he's got his pencil. So what is it?
Charlie.
Yeah. What is it? Something Sue Charlie. He should have a sign. I don't know why he doesn't have a sign.
Next week he'll have a sign.
Isn't it Jesus Charlie?
Je suis.
Je suis Charlie.
It's French.
Yeah, no, I don't know French. So I'm looking at it like
Je suis. I am.
Suey. Jay Suey, son.
It's French
Lake
for
Suey,
I am
son. I went
Charlie.
swimming in Lake Suey and I took a dump.
Je suis. I am Charlie.
All right, cool. And then the other thing I wanted to touch on next week's show, and then I know Brian will bring something to the table. I'm going to finish it up with our Dick Minute. And past that, I wanted to basically touch on next week. There was a story on NBCPhiladelphia.com maybe about a month ago. Dead 91-year-old Polish woman wakes up in morgue, asks for tea. Now, I've also heard about a little black boy that was at his funeral, and it was an open casket, and he sat up in his casket and asked for some water, and then, laid back down and was dead again. So it's like, what is up with this? Why are people waking up from dead and only to ask for something to drink?
It's The Walking Dead.
But they want something to drink like they're
The
parched.
zombies, man. The Walking Dead.
I ain't had nothing to drink in feels like forever. It's like, yo, you've been dead for a week. All right. So I definitely want to touch on that. How is that possible?
When they were alive, they watched so much Walking Dead that once they're dead, they think they're a zombie, so they wake up.
But it's not But look, it's not a. It's not a, what do you call it? It's not a isolated incident. It happens. It's happened plenty of times. Is it and it makes me think of the zombies, the real life zombies that they've had. They've actually brought back zombies from the dead in Africa through voodoo and shamanistic rituals and stuff like that. I've seen that. I've seen documentaries on it. I'm still skeptical of that, if that's actual zombies or the people are dead.
Really
but there are.
documentary.
Think about the bugs. Think about the bugs that are the zombie bugs. I don't know what they're called, but they infiltrate a host bug or a host animal.
Parasite?
It's a type of parasite that gets into their brain. There's a parasite, you're right, that gets into the brain, but it's called like the suicide bug or something like that.
Okay.
And any host that it gets into, it forces the host to kill itself. It literally takes over the host and will literally like have the host start like ripping off its limbs. Like I think I saw it like in a spider, and the spider was ripping off each one of its limbs because it had control of the spider. Like it literally took control of the spider's mind, so it could do whatever it wanted. So I was like, all right, let's rip off these limbs, start ingesting them, you know what I'm saying? Let's get everything inside, and then I'm going to, like, let it die, and I'm going to start eating through all this stuff, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, they just take over it. So there are zombie parasites out there. Could that be what's making these people? These people are dead, but they actually have this unknown parasite inside of them that is actually reanimating them for a minute. So they might not actually be alive, or maybe they are alive for another minute, but they're being reanimated. I don't know. Some crazy stuff, dude. All right, I want to touch on the Dick Minute, dude, and then we got to wrap.
Let's hear the Dick
Because
Minute.
we went an hour and a half again. It's like every show's 90 minutes. Something about that 90 mark
It just works for us for some
I
reason.
guess it does.
It just
I don't-
works itself out.
I'd like to say I don't know if it works for our fans, but hey, I ain't hearing no complaints. All right. Wanted to mention the president of Uruguay, the poorest president out
Yes.
there. He drives a Volkswagen buggy from like the 70s or the 60s or something. He's the man.
I am familiar with the story, but
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of our viewers
Yeah,
are not.
maybe we could touch on it another day. But on today's Dick Minute, Nick's Dick Minute, which stands for DYK, did you know? Herbert Hoover was the only president to turn his entire salary over to charity. You know what?
That's pretty impressive.
I hear all presidents are related. All presidents have been are related by blood in one way, shape, or form, and all presidents have done some bad stuff, and the country's been corrupt since the founding fathers, and yada yada. But you know what? Herbert Hoover, I don't even know the bad things that Herbert Hoover's done. I'm sure he's done plenty of bad things, or he did plenty of bad things while he was a president. I don't want to say super bad, but he did plenty of legislation that wasn't good for the country. It had us put us in a wrong direction. Who knows? He probably wasn't a great president. You don't hear about him being a great president, but then again, the great presidents aren't always the ones we hear about being great. Aren't always the great presidents. Reagan,
Exactly.
sorry, but Reagan was not so great.
Nah.
Clinton, like we're now getting far enough away from Clinton, where everybody's trying to act like Clinton like did great things, and it's like he did some good things. But he also kind of started the war on terror, and people don't want to think about that. It's like
And he's the one who
He didn't fully start the war
He's the
on
one who
terror,
hard
but-
signed us onto Agenda 21.
exactly, he did a lot
Bush
of stuff.
signed
Dude.
us on
Yep.
through a
Was that the
soft
Rio
treaty.
conference? He went to the Rio conference, didn't he? Yeah. So, but Herbert Hoover.
Well, George
I give him
Bush
credit, dude.
Sr.
I
was
give him
at the
credit.
Rio conference. He signed on through a soft treaty, but when Clinton took office, he signed on fully.
What we need to find out is Herbert Hoover. I want to know what charity he donated his
Ooh,
salary
good
to.
question.
Because it could have been the Rockefeller Foundation for all we know, and he was literally giving the money that we were paying him, us, the United States citizens, were paying him. He was
Back to
giving
David
it over
Rockefeller's family.
to Rockefeller.
Yeah.
Probably not. It was probably some. It could have been the Roscoe Foundation for all I know. Could have been something. Could have been a smaller. A more actual charitable foundation. Who knows? I don't know. I'd like to look into that. But that's pretty interesting that he was the only president to give
One
his...
thing that we do know for a fact,
and
is
especially
Herbert-
in this day and age, Obama could do something like that. Our last few presidents
I'm pretty
have
sure that
been able to
Herbert
do that.
Hoover, I'll say this solidly, I 100% believe he did not even think about dumping a bucket of ice water on his head.
No, I don't think... And I don't want to put people down. I'm tired of putting people down who've done the ALS challenge. You know, good
I've
for you.
done it.
Hey, at least you're trying. I haven't done it. I refuse to do it. But you know what?
But I
That
also
doesn't
don't
mean
either.
I'm better than anybody that hasn't done it. Yeah, I've come to the realization, and this is something the world needs to do. Not just me, not just you, not just people we know. The world needs to do. We will never get, like I'm talking about the conscious revolution, we will never, ever, ever come to a conscious revolution, a conscious revolution of humanity's consciousness. We will never get to that point unless we can stop judging other people and feeling like, and it's not through words. I mean, unless we can get past that feeling inside of ourselves that we are either less than somebody else or better than somebody else in any way, shape, or form. Any way, shape, or form. We will not succeed in the grand plan for the human race of becoming an amazing, conscious, aware being, you know, because we're not conscious and aware. We're eating animals over and over again, and
Yeah.
we know they get slaughtered, and it's just like, oh, well, no looky, no, whatever. You know what I'm saying? As long as
I don't want to see that.
if I don't see it, exactly. If I don't see it, it doesn't matter.
I don't want to know how peanut butter's produced.
As long as
because
I can
wanna
enjoy
keep
my
eating
smash
it.
burger, which I love smash burger, but as long as I can enjoy my smash burger,
Don't tell me what fell into that
I
sausage
want my
press.
raspberry
I enjoy
Snapple,
eating
even
it.
though I just heard 2 weeks ago that everything raspberry flavored comes from a sack by underneath the nuts of a beaver. But you know what? I want some more raspberry stuff. It's like I still drink raspberry stuff, but it's like, what is up with us? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then what does that have to do with judging? I don't even know. But we got to stop judging people and thinking that we're better than anybody else, because not one of us is better than anybody else. All right, you may say, oh, I'm more intelligent than this person. Okay, well, you may be more intelligent than that person, but that person probably has double the heart that you have. You know what I'm saying? And that guy's in a wheelchair, and I can run. I bet you I could beat him in a foot race because he can't walk. And it's like you're laughing because that guy doesn't have the use of his legs, but you don't even understand the grand scope of things. That maybe that guy chose to have no legs because he knew he was going to be in your life and you needed that experience. His soul knew that he would be in your soul's life and that your soul was needing that experience of feeling like you're laughing at somebody. Because when you laugh
See,
at somebody
my
in a
first thought
wheelchair,
there-
you can't help but at some point in your life, unless you're a pretty fucked up person or down a really bad path, if you laugh at somebody in a wheelchair, you can't help but at some point feel like you're a bad person, or that was kind of wrong, feel guilty or wrong for doing that.
When I see
you know?
somebody with like missing a limb or something like that, my first thought is that's a veteran that lost a body part trying to doing what he believed was defending our freedoms.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's admirable, not somebody to be made fun of or insulted.
Yeah, but that person might think. I'm not saying a person missing their leg. Sorry, I'm like my head is all over. That's why we got to wrap this up before I fall off the deep end.
We're long past the deep end.
No, I'm gasping for air in the deep end, and I don't want to touch.
I brought a
the bottom.
scuba tank just to be safe.
I don't want to touch the bottom. I'm gasping for air. Now, basically, judgment in every way, shape, or form has got to go. It can't be like I'm older. There's a lot of age bias, or not age bias, age.
I know what you mean, yeah.
Ageism, I guess you could say.
Ageism.
Where there's people, and it's not like, and it goes from, you definitely have 90-year-old people with 10-year-old kids where there's a disconnect there where the kid just wants to be ornery and the 9-year-old person's like, I've dealt with too much, I'm tired, leave me alone, kid, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's also when we come to high school age. The kids who are, you're a sophomore and the kids who are seniors have got it figured out. I don't care if you know 10 times more than the senior kid. That senior kid's got it figured out, you know, and he's going to believe that he's got it figured out.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to judge you because you're lesser than him because you're a sophomore. And it's like, that's part of the indoctrination,
Yep.
but it just continues on in life. And when age, and you get to a certain point right around this age, I'd have to say around once you start hitting your 30s, age doesn't matter. We're all just adults. You know what I'm saying? We're all just adults.
I've
And
tried
it's
to
like,
explain
and it's
that to
hard to
younger
even
people
really,
when they don't
but it's
get
hard to, like when you're younger, you can kind of judge by looking at somebody what their age is when they're around your age, or they're still in their 20s or early 20s or teenage years or whatever. You can kind of judge what their age is. As you get older, it's harder to judge somebody's age unless they're like getting up towards 50. Like once you get between like 30 and 50, it's like it's hard to really tell exactly what that person's age is. You know what I'm saying? So the ageism kind of, it doesn't go away. There's still plenty of cases. I suffer from ageism with a couple people in my own family that I'm still, because I'm the youngest child, I'm still treated like a child even though I'm 30 years old, right? But there's so many other things, whereas people move out of it, and it starts with high school, with clothes, with friends, with like so many different things. But we just continue to judge our whole entire lives. Even the people, that's what aggravates me about religion, is these people judge anybody who does not follow their religion as that they are better than, and then they'll even say, I'm not saying I'm better than these people, but then you talk about how you're living the righteous life and they need to get on the righteous path, and they're doing this wrong and they're doing that wrong, and how what you would do is this and what you would do, and it's like, well,
No, not even what you would do. What your supreme being wants you to do.
Yeah, what God wants you to do. Or what,
Allah wants me to do this, so you're doing wrong.
so I don't know, but you know what?
Or Buddha or whoever, you know, whoever you pray to. I just call my God God.
Yep.
I don't call him Catholic God. I don't call him Muslim God. I don't call him Jewish God. I don't call him Buddhist God. He's just God.
I call him me. One. You know, I don't say I'm God. Hey, I'm
God.
No.
Nice to meet you.
No, but you know what? That is the right way to I don't say to introduce yourself, but if you're going to say such a thing, such a blasphemous thing, that's the right way to say it. I'm God. I am God. Not or hold on. Yes. I am God. Not I am a God. Now, you would say, okay, well, I am a God sounds much more like I'm a slice of God than I am God, because you're saying you are God. And it's like, no, each one of us is just as much of God as everyone else.
Well, just remember the important lesson that we learned from Gozer the Traveler. When someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes.
No. Okay, I see what you're saying, and I see your reference there. But
and there's people that are too young to know that's a Ghostbusters reference.
Well, if you believe you're God, or you believe what I believe, that you're, what do you call it? That we're all God or whatever, that we are all a chunk of God, right? It can be easy to go out there and say, I am God, or I am a God.
But so many people instantly say you're a blasphemous heathen. But when
people hear, I am a God,
how could you say such a thing?
People think of you as like a narcissist, or being like egotistical and stuff like that, or you really are full of yourself. But when you say I am God, people think the exact same thing, but they don't understand what you mean. They don't understand, or they think that you're thinking that you are the one and only God and nobody else is. And it's like, no, anytime I've ever told anybody I am God, they look at me like, shut up, like, really? Like, they think I'm trying to mess with them, or that I'm trying to be funny or something stupid, you know what I'm saying? And it's like,
we've all seen Dogma. We all know that Alanis Morissette is God. Let's just stop the arguing.
Seriously. But they don't. Anytime I've ever told anybody that, they look at me as just like as being weird, and they don't understand what I mean by that. Even after I've tried to explain it to them, because I think that's where we need to get.
Because they're raised around that.
It's a spiritual problem, dude. I'm sorry. Like, we think all of this political, the whole financial system, the whole police state, we think all of that is all political things that need to be fixed, and that we need to protest, and we need to spread the word about, and we need to really research and look into it. And it's like, the solution to 95 or 96% of all of those problems is spiritual.
Yes.
Is within. Is how we relate, not just with a God or with God or anything divine, is how we relate if we know that all is one, that we are all one. And that's a spiritual understanding. And until we all understand that and have that basic understanding of the universe, and we all came from the same thing. We all came out of dark matter, whatever you want to call it. We all came out of this universe. We're all a part of this universe. We're all in this together. If we're all on this planet, we all came up on this planet, so we're all on this planet together. It's not here to fight over and fight for resources and this and that. It's to live harmoniously together with each other. You know, and they say you can fit the whole world's population in Texas. It's like, depopulation is just a whole load of fucking
crap. Which takes us right back to that MLK quote from an hour and a half ago.
Yes, it does. So on that note, speaking of MLK, do you got anything else you want to add? I'm burnt out. So.
I think I'm good. I think I got it all.
All right. So on that note, I wanted to play this song, but you know what? I'm going to play it. Where's my fucking thing?
You're using your phone to film, I think.
Oh, I'm using my phone to film and derp-a-der. All right. Then we're just going to have to go off of these. All right. Damn it. All right, you listening? Hey, Brian, are you listening?
I'm listening.
I'm listening. Jeez. I got to get this figured out. It's funny because we're working on such a, shoestring studio here. But it's pretty great. It's pretty great that we're able to produce this and get this out, so hopefully my volume's up. It's probably not. It's a laptop, so the volume sucks. Yeah.
We will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nature into a
I think yes, we are. So, volume that. I'm going to try this. Martin Luther King Day. Martin Luther King Day. Oh, okay, so this was mine. All right. Oh, look at this, Brian. You ready? All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Hi-yo. Hiya. Hi-yo. Hiya. All right. Thank you for joining us, everybody. This has been a great show. Happy Martin Luther King Day.
Happy Martin Luther King Day.
Yes. Catch us on Facebook.com/3NN Podcast, YourWorldOfText.com/3NN, or YouTube.com/3NN Podcast, or we also have a new one here. You ready for the new one?
Let's hear it.
It's pretty interesting. I just got it yesterday. I don't know how, but they gave it to me. YouTube.com/C/Were We Lied To. All one word. Were We Lied To. I used to have that website, used to have that .com. I don't have it anymore, but somehow Google gave that to me for the Nick Tesla channel, and I'm going to start using it. So, if you want to just search Nick Tesla online, that's no problem. But other than that, everybody have a great week, and hey, we'll see you next week, and happy MLK Day, yo.